Hello, everybody. Today we have a very special guest, Emily Thomas, who is our assistant teaching professor of wildlife technology. She and her colleagues, they've been really envisioning this beautiful idea in terms of developing our monument hill further. And she recently submitted a proposal on their ideas. And today she's going to share what her ideas are in terms of making our monument hill even more beautiful, teaming with activities. So,
Yes.
Emily, the stage is yours, and you could give us a quick overview of what your vision is.
Perfect. Thank you, JR. So I'm here today to introduce the Wildlife Technologies program's ideas for an environmental education trail up on Monument Hill. And so just to start, this is an aerial photo of Monument Hill. So you can see we're just north of campus. On the bottom there, you can see the parking lot. This area is an open area that up until last summer was mowed and kept as lawn. And then starting last summer, the area to the east, so on the right-hand side, the upper part of the hill stopped being mowed. And we're letting that grow up a little bit in hopes of creating better habitat up there. We do use this area for our wildlife labs and our forestry labs, along with the area across the street as well. And we're looking to further develop it as an educational trail, not only for our students, but mostly for the public and K through 12 students to use as well. And so go ahead.
One quick
Yeah.
question is how big is the space available to us right now?
Yeah, so the area that we're talking is about 4 acres. So it starts
I
down there
see.
on North 4th Street. That area is still mowed. Then there's a quite steep hill there, and then we're talking about the top of that, and it's approximately 4 acres. So a nice size area
I
to
see.
do something small, not too big that people wouldn't want to walk the area, but large enough that we can show a lot of different things. So. All right, so what we're thinking about is designing an environmental education trail. The trail would be fairly simple, a mowed path through that area that we're letting grow up, some benches along the way, and then the majority of what we would be doing are what we're calling some demonstration areas, which would show different management strategies, both wildlife and forestry. We could also incorporate other ideas into those, and then educational signage that goes along with those, so that people could walk this at their own pace and take that in. And then we would also provide a trail map for them as they're going along as well with some more information.
Another
Yeah.
question I have is I talked to some people on campus. They were wondering how to really have access to the trail because I think it's not very clear to them how to really go up the hill.
Yep. Good question. So you can see on North 4th Street there. So um the line that goes up is actually paved now. So you can see going from North 4th Street up the hill. There's a paved road. There's a gate that you need to walk past, and then the pavement goes up onto the top of the hill towards the monument. And so the trail would start as you get to the top of the hill near the monument area, and then go around through that 4 acres that's currently not being mowed. So the access would be from North 4th Street there.
Was it paved recently?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact date of that,
Oh,
but
I
it
see.
was
Okay.
fairly recently, I think. So
Okay.
we were
I
just
got
up
it.
there doing a
Uh,
vegetation survey, and it's
I see.
nice
Okay.
access up there
Very good.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so back to the demonstration areas. So some proposed demonstration areas that we have. These first ones here are some of the easier ones that we could put in quite quickly, and they would show different, again, management strategies that people can use or things that we're working on in the program. So first one there, wildlife nesting boxes. So bluebird boxes, things like that. We already have some on campus. The students build them in one of my labs. And so we would show the different types of boxes, and then people could put them up on their own. American chestnut is a tree species that used to dominate Pennsylvania, but has been hit by chestnut blight and is in recovery. Brush piles are very simple. It's what's shown in the bottom picture there with the two birds on it. They don't look the best, right? Because it's just piling sticks and whatnot on each other, but it's great wildlife habitat. Pollinator gardens are becoming very popular. And with our already existing monarch nursery on campus, in addition of a pollinator garden would be perfect. Cover boards are what's shown on the top there. There are already cover boards on Monument Hill and down across the street in the wetland. We lift these up, see what's under them. Usually it's small mammals, snakes, things like that. And then there is actually an existing weather station up there that people often have questions about what it is. And so we would incorporate that into the trail as well with some educational signage there. And then in the future, some ideas we have. Early successional habitat is what regrows in an area after a disturbance. So similar to what you see on top there, the herbaceous vegetation growing back in. This is what's happening right now. Succession is happening up on top of that hill as we're not mowing it. We're actually monitoring what species are coming in, and we could show how that works. Seed blend comparisons. So if you are reseeding an area that's been disturbed or want to do a pollinator garden, we could show different seed blends and how they do. Deer fencing is something that shows the impacts of deer on the outside of the fence, since they can't get on the inside, and people can get a visual on how much damage deer do to vegetation. The soil up there is very compact, and so we could show different techniques for planting on that type of soil. We actually have a lot of that in the DuBois area with reclaimed strip mines. And so it's a good area to show how to mitigate those effects. Soil testing is something that's offered through Penn State. And so we could give people information on that. And then the last one there that was what we call MODIS, which is what's shown in the bottom picture there. Those are antennas that pick up radio signals, and we can put little tags on things like birds. There are some even as small to go on dragonflies. And then if a tagged individual goes by a station, it pings that station. We get that information. The owner of the tag gets that information. It's a good opportunity for our students to get some real-time data, and for us to put some tags out as well. And so these are some future ideas in addition to the ones that we would like to incorporate in the near future. And so what are our goals? We want to provide environmental education in DuBois. Currently, the closest place is Parker Dam, which is about 25 minutes from DuBois. It's a great resource, but it might be hard for some people in DuBois to get out to Parker Dam. And so we want to provide something that is closer to the city itself. The demonstration areas will show different management strategies. Most of them are very simple things that people can implement on their own properties. And that's our idea. We want to teach people how to do those. And one of our goals when we put in the demonstration areas is that they will last a long time and have low maintenance. All right. We don't want to add to anybody's workload here. So we will keep that in mind as we're planning things. We're hoping that after people visit, they'll go home, teach others, and improve the environment, either on their own property or elsewhere as well. Thinking about K through 12, right? We have the high school right next door. All they would have to do is come up the hill. The middle school and multiple elementary schools are very close as well. We've got scouts. And as we're designing the signage, we plan to incorporate different standards for environment and ecology so that teachers can, when they need to meet a specific standard, come to our trail to meet that standard. And so it would also be open to the general public, right? They could come up anytime and walk that trail. And then we hope to involve our students as much as possible. They would be helping with the setup of the demonstration areas, helping to design the signage, which is something they might be doing in future jobs as well. And then especially for the K through 12 groups, we're hoping to provide some guided tours. I teach a course where students need to do public education, environmental education. And so we would add that into there and they would provide some guided tours of the trail. So any other questions?
Yeah, one of the questions I have is what would be the most resource intense type of thing you will have to work on in terms of funding and so on, because you have, demonstration areas. Are we talking about, signages or, all those types of things? Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we were putting together our initial proposal, the highest cost by far was the signage, was the signs themselves. The demonstration areas, with the exception of the Modus Tower, which does have some cost to it, the one with all the antennas and that, the demonstration areas are not particularly expensive. So the signage is the most significant cost. Yep.
Got it. Yeah. And if you think of this as a phased approach, what would you be your first phase, second phase, and so on? Just curious.
Yeah, and so that's why the demonstration areas are separated into two groups there. The first phase would be the ones that I listed on the first slide there, the ones that are fairly simple. We already have most of the materials for those. Getting those in would be, and then adding on to that. We are already doing vegetation surveys up there so that we know what is up there. We want to encourage any good vegetation that's coming in and then discourage any invasive or problematic species as well. And so we're sort of starting slow, monitoring what's going on up there so that when we get to the point where we put things in, we can have that background information.
My last question is, what are you already doing, there with students or the public?
So the students often do their labs up on Monument Hill. So we have, many of our classes have labs. And so they are held up there and then across the street as well.
I see. Yeah. So Emily, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And it was very educational. And I really feel that you have a wonderful plan there. I really want to see this plan coming to fruition. But at the same time, we want to know more about, what others have, ideas in terms of how we can develop the Monument Hill Trail further. So this is a good opportunity for us to throw this, out there so that people can, start providing their ideas. And I think eventually this will be a beautiful plan and that will hopefully get implemented very soon.
Yes. Thank you very much, JR. And I'm looking forward to hearing other ideas for the Hill as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.